Welcome once again to my channel, Fox Business. My name is Ofosu Godwin, a marketing professional and a marketing trainer. In this video, we're going to talk about email subject lines that can give you leads. Email subject lines that can give you leads. You see, email open rate is one important metric when it comes to email marketing. As email marketing keeps growing among marketers and on almost every digital marketing plan, it is important to ensure that you use strategic subject lines so that your mails are read. You see, subject lines tends to entice people or to move people to open mails. Sometimes certain subject lines can lead to your mail not being open. Now, let's look at some of the techniques and some of the methods and some of the styles of crafting email subject lines that can lead to you generating leads and closing that lead, and also lead to open rate. The first thing I'm going to talk about is to be aware of spam subject line. Spammy subject lines. Be aware of spammy or spam subject lines. Avoid words that trigger spams. Clickbait subject lines. For example, buy, sales, click here. Also, don't engage or involve in excessive use of punctuations, capital letters, right, and setting clickbaity lines that can land your email into spam. Take this very important, as setting spammy subject lines can let your email end up in spam or be deleted and not read. So take that into memory and into consideration. The next technique I'll talk about is the favor subject lines. Favor subject lines. So for example, you tell the recipient to do you a favor. There's one unique way of getting your email easily open. So you ask the recipient to make you a favor by taking an action. So ask the recipient to take an action in the subject line, or you ask the recipient for help in the subject line. So for example, in a subject line, you can ask the recipient, for example, tell us what you think. We need your feedback. Can you read this brochure? So that's going to be the subject line. This strategy sort of ask the recipient for a favor. To do something. And asking people for help in such a way sometimes can also trigger a positive action. So with this type of email subject line technique, you ask the recipient to take an action or to do something, to give you a feedback on something. So like I said, for example, tell us what you think. We need your feedback. Can you read this brochure? Right. Now let's look at the next technique or the next tactic. That is the question subject lines. Question subject lines. These subject lines can spark emotions, attention, and interest. Right. It tends to ask the recipient a question. Right, so it tends to ask a question, and then through that catches the curiosity of the audience and make them open your mail. It is one of the nicest techniques when it comes to email subject lines for business and for marketing, as a matter of fact. So for example, in a subject line you have, do you need a cleaner? Need a janitor? Do you need a car? Do you need a car loan? You see, this tends to create some form of curiosity and then create some kind of an interest and move the recipient from clicking and opening your mail. It's a very simple technique, but works very well. Another technique is the single word lines. It's another form of subject line technique for emails. Usually ideal for sales promotions and promotional campaigns and offers. So you just use only one word in the email subject line. Promotions, urgent, action. Right, but care must be taken not to use spammy subject lines, as these spammy subject lines can land your email into the recipient's junk or into his spam. Another technique is personalization, where you use personalized subject lines. And by personalized subject lines is that you mention the name, the first name or the second name of the recipient. But it's better to research to find out, if we are doing international markets, it's better to research and find out whether in that particular market or geographic market, using first names are required or using second names are required. Or you should be able to understand the cultural dynamics when it comes to using first and second names. Right, so personalization lines or personal lines. With this one, you mention the name of the recipient in the subject line. The people tend to be a bit curious when they see their names have been mentioned. But it doesn't always work that way. Some people too might also not be comfortable with you sending, an email using their names, whilst they don't know who the recipient is. They've never met that particular business or that particular brand or that particular person sending the email to market his products and services. Personalization is also good because it can also help you to build relationship with your customers. Personalization also tends to make the recipient understand that you have read or researched about him, and then so therefore they sometimes feel comfortable opening these emails to see the content that is embedded within the email. So for example, you can say, Ivy, do you need a janitor? Ivy, special offer for you, or special offer on our addresses. So you mention the name of the person in the subject line. The next technique I'm going to talk about is to use product benefit lines, whereby you, instead of going straight to the normal subject lines, you mention a benefit of the product in the subject line in a very short form, at least maximum 5 to 6 words, or even 4 words. Right? So for example, let's say you run a coding business, you teach people how to code. So in a subject line, you can say, learn coding easily. How to stay healthy. This meal will make you live longer. This medicine prevents pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, etc. So you end up mentioning the benefit of the product in the subject line. Right. Now the next one I'm going to talk about is the use of percentage. So you use percentage in the subject line. This in a way tends to give the recipient some form of data. A cross section of customers love data and will think along with data, especially the elite people. This gives them an overview of that particular subject line and then the content of the email. Some people are moved by data. People believe in empirical evidence. value-based data. So for example, in a subject line, you can see that 60% of men have waist problem. 30% of young guys have eye problem. For example, this is an example. So with this, you use percentage in the headlines. 90% of our customers are satisfied. 80% of our customers are satisfied. So you talk about the data that you have researched on concerning that particular product or that particular industry and use it in the subject line. Thank you very much for watching my videos. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and subscribe. It is free to subscribe on YouTube. Like and comment. Thank you very much and watch out for my next video.